Edwin Newman of NBC News. This is a television studio, not very glamorous now, shorn of its usual trappings, but from this spot, with the proper lighting, with good sets, well-made costumes, a tight script, and with talented people here on the studio floor, and in the control room, a floor above, from this spot, millions of people can be entertained. Television is the newest form of entertainment, of show business. We use it tonight to tell you the present-day story of one of the oldest forms of show business, the traveling carnival. Most of us have never seen a carnival midway looking like this. Only those who are with it, only carnies themselves, know it as it is here. To Sally Rand, a headliner carny of long standing, this stroll up a deserted midway is like coming home. This can also be home base for the drifter and the substantial citizen, for the con man and the man of integrity, for the roue and the closely knit and loving family. The carnies, whatever their station, bind themselves together into an insulated society. Those outside the pale of this society are called marks. P.T. Barnum used to call them suckers. This story, then, may be an education for all of us marks. But to start the story, we have to return, however briefly, to a more familiar frame of reference. We have first to see the midway the way we, the marks, know it best.
This is what you came to see. Girls, beauties from all over the United States. More rich, rare, and racy entertainment inside this show in 5 minutes than you'll get on the rest of the fairgrounds in 3 hours or your money back. As NBC News presents Carny with the one and only Sally Rand.
We know what brings you boys in here when we play your city every year. It's not the scenery or the gowns that we wear that makes you fellas want to sit down there. It's legs, legs. Every man that buys a ticket and comes through the door. Legs, legs. First you see a little bit and then you want some more. Limbs are so attractive. They would make a weak man active, sure, sure. While you're losing all that you got, legs, legs, legs.
When you say carnival, the mind usually conjures up girly show. Some carnivals do exist without a girl show, but not the bigger ones, not the ones playing the state fairs, and not the ones we regard as typical. Girl shows are the foundation of the back end of the carnival lot, the area encompassing all the performances. It's not unusual that these girls go on 12 times a day. Well, this is the hub of it. This is what draws the crowds away from the pigs and the sheep and the goats and down through the carnival midway, spending money on the rides, the exhibitions, and the concessions as they go. But this is what they came for. This is the magnet.
Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you, Jerry. Come on down and get Joanne. Come on down and get Frankie. These have got what they call a bump shake.
It's a way of life. You know, it's a way of life that's been pretty good to Sally Rand.
I like to think that, well, maybe I've been good to it, too. With a pair of white feather fans and a bubble or two. Of course, there are some who think that with the advances of television and the more mobile and sophisticated American public, that the carnival show is dying. Now, it may be changing, but not dying. Every 1st of May, those red wagons roll. Because that means that each season, would you believe that 500 of these shows hit the road? Many of the shows winter in Florida. A few are big, like this railroad show. Most are smaller. Some are so small they're called 40-milers. They stick pretty close to winter quarters because the few rattling trucks that haul the show couldn't stand the big jumps. But most shows, big or small, follow the same pattern. Spring sees the wagons freshly painted and the owners convinced that this season will be the one that they had hoped for last year. Not so much rain this time. Better dates at the fairs. Bigger spenders on the midway. During the winter, the carnival people center their activities around the Showman's League, like this one in Tampa. Here they meet, discuss their mutual problems, and plan for the season ahead. But the talk is always the same. They talk about their shows. They argue about the routes they will travel and speculate on what the season will bring. And this is the way they live. At least this is the way Carl J. Settlemeyer lives. He's the sole owner of the biggest of the carnivals, the Royal American shows. Now in his 70s, Carl Settlemeyer is a multimillionaire. In 1907, he was a talker on a sideshow. Today, they call him King of the Carnival. And this is the Florida home of the Crown Prince, Carl J. Settlemeyer, Jr., who was born on his father's show and is now his father's right-hand man. His wife is the former Eggley Zucchini of the Zucchini Cannon Act of circus fame. Their marriage merged two show business dynasties, the Settlemeyers and the Zucchinis, the carnival and the circus. Of course, the Settlemeyers are not the only wealthy owners. This is the home of Specs Grosker, owner of the bluegrass shows. The white Cadillac is the status symbol of the Carny show owner. Grosker, unlike the Settlemeyers, does not own all of the units in his show. Some are leased for the season on percentages. Nevertheless, Grosker is a successful carny. And like all successful carnies, he lives well. The carnival thrives on nepotism. This is the way of life of Grosker's brother, Russell. He runs the cookhouse with the bluegrass shows and also sells hot dogs. His sons, Russell Jr. and Randy, help. So did his wife, Nina, who was once the president of the local PTA. Not all carnies are affluent. Gail Madden, the talker on the Royal American Girls Show, sells groceries in the off-season. He's a good talker. He convinces the marks to buy tickets even though they had no intention of doing so when they came on the midway. Incidentally, talker is the proper word, not barker. The producer of that girls' show, Leon Miller, does relax during the winter, watering the plants at his converted Pullman car home. As the season approaches, the shows go into rehearsal. At Tampa, the Club Harlem show with Royal American works out the details of its review. This is not typical. Most reviews are not so carefully planned. But Leon Claxton, who produces Club Harlem, is a veteran carny and knows that his livelihood depends on the success of his box office. And he sees to every detail of this show. When the trains finally roll, another season is underway. It will last 6 months. It will be a major gamble. It will be a gamble with weather, labor, regional wealth, or the lack of it, and dozens of other factors over which the carny has no control. When the location is reached, the show goes up. For that, you need a canvas man. He's an artist, a prima donna, a technician, a craftsman, a weatherman, and a boss. Without him, your tent doesn't go up or down. And without a tent, you're not in business. Sometimes a canvas man doesn't even have to be a man. Then the heavy and complicated rides must go up. This work is done by roughies, and roughies are divided into two classes. Those who travel with the show and those who are hired on the scene. These are called townies. It is not an easy life being a roughie. There are dangers inherent in the job that are not immediately apparent. This man fell from the top of the partially erected wild mouse ride. He fell backwards into a pile of steel.
The way he left hurt him. The way he landed this way, that's what hurt him.
Hey, let's leave those things back out.
Even as the injured man was being taken away, the work continued. The show had to get up. The show was the important thing. It was the show that brought in the money.
Here comes the nurse.
The greatest enemy of the carnival is weather. Rain at the Calgary Stampede in Canada probably cost the big Royal American shows $10,000 or $15,000. Rain at Calgary is bad enough. Rain at St. Charles, Minnesota is terrible. Here, driving rains cost the Al Brown shows a whole day's proceeds. When the weather finally clears at the Winona County Fair, the hard work of setting up is still to be done. Fair officials aren't too unhappy, however. The carnival they booked the year before never opened at all. But big show or small, State Fair or County Fair, the carnival lot is always laid out the same way. Tape measures are never used to mark off the space needed for rides and show fronts, and this time-honored method of pacing off the lot is amazingly accurate. The kids who come to watch the show going up would probably all like to be carnies. Such desires are part of growing up. But if they knew the frustrations, they might have second thoughts. A perfect example is this story of one Ferris wheel and one worried mother. The Ferris wheel, you see, is disabled. Nothing dangerous, the darn thing is just stripped its gears. To a mother with 3 children stuck near the top of the wheel, the situation is not very funny. Those are the ones way up there. The children who have been trapped up in the air eventually reach the ground. Now they have something to tell their friends. What thrills! All for the price of a ride on the Ferris wheel. To Mother, however, it's all a lot of nonsense.
The setting sun often draws a curtain on that kind of frustration. The carny can leave it behind, mentally as well as physically, as he packs up and rolls to the next date. This is the grueling part of the business. The carnies have worked all day and all night, and now, at 3 a.m., the trucks move out. The next stop may be 50 miles away, may also be 500 miles away. The carny always remains an optimist. If today hasn't been so good, if things like broken Ferris wheels have hurt, if rain has cut the take, there's always tomorrow. Tomorrow, the carny is certain the sun will shine. Most carnival show dates are played in association with fairs, and at the fairs, the carny gets competition for the food dollar from the local and usually more popular food stands. These stands, called grab joints by the carnies, are part of the vast complex of moneymakers lumped under the general heading of concessions. Whenever a carnival show owner can swing it, he likes to sign a fence-to-fence contract with the fair, which means the carnival is the sole contractor for all concessions and therefore gets a percentage of all business. This, however, never happens at the big state fairs, and that is where the real money is made. In the food line, the carny usually stays with the staples. The greatest staple of them all is the hot dog.
Weenie, 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 and they're all real hard. The weenie in the middle and the mustard on top makes your tongue go flippity-flop. Hot dogs are ready.
You may recognize that this is Russell Grosskirth, now far from his boat and his comfortable home in Florida, plying his trade. He deals in hot doggerel.
Yeah, look at the size of them. How many? Just tell us how many. We'll wait on you.
Right.
Don't walk around hungry, you skinny rascals. We'll feed you.
Right.
Regular 50-cent size for a quarter.
Concessions are not limited to food. They include the many hundreds of games of chance, which vary from community to community and from law to law. Sally Rand knows them all.
This is called, simply enough, the basket pitch. It's an alibi joint, so termed because when that ball pops out of the basket, the agent gives you an explanation, an alibi. This is another kind of pitch, a color pitch. Here, a plastic ball is tossed into an enclosure and rests on a particular color. Anyone with money on that color wins, usually cigarettes. In some communities, this game is not legal. The reason is, of course, that it is very easy to switch from playing for cigarettes to playing for money. The reputable shows stay away from this because they don't want any trouble from the fuzz. Fuzz are police. This young man is attacking a cat track, a game in which 3 stuffed cats must be knocked down with baseballs. It requires skill because anything less than a dead center hit will not do the job. A win here brings a prize of a stuffed bear or a poodle dog, called plush by the carnies. More difficult to beat is the old milk bottle game. The bottles must be knocked off the platform, and you have to overcome a lot of lead weight in the base of the bottles to do it. This is the gaffer on the joint, a fixing of the game to prevent beating it. Other gaffes can be much more subtle. This sign, a prize every time, indicates a hanky-pank. Any game that appeals mostly to children for which a nominal sum is charged and a prize is awarded on each play. This particular game is hoopla. The come-on is the big prize, a camera or a watch. But what is normally won is a tiny, almost insignificant prize. Such a prize is called slum, and slum can be bought for a few dollars a gross. The basketball pitch can be the bane of the carny because it always draws the local athlete who can beat the game. To ward off this kind of a raid on the plush prizes and to protect the bankroll, the carny limits it to 1 prize to a customer.
Teddy bears, ho, let's get one. You get a dog, bear, or a monkey every time. Ho, teddy bears, you win one every time. How about it? You get a dog, bear, or a monkey every time. You just drop the little marble in and whatever it lands on. You land a large, small, medium, one, or choice. You want to try?
This is called a beehive. It involves absolutely no skill.
Okay, you just drop it in there and whatever it lands on, you win. You got a medium there. Ah, she got one. Look at there. what she won. Oh, teddy bears! You win one every time. You're in drawing time?
Here, spin and win. This is where you win them at. Win a bear.
And this is the spindle.
There you go, son. Spin and win, by golly. This is where you win them at. There you go. You want a small bear there, by golly. Here you go. Who's next now? Spin and win, by golly. This is where you win them at.
A top concession is the Mitcamp, the palm reader, the fortune teller. It is as old as time. The Mitcamp operator here is Salika Suri, an old hand at telling them what they want to hear.
Did you want me to review one hand or both hands?
Both hands.
Right. Open your hand nice and wide now. You can give me the money, please. I will make a wish on it. Over here. Right here. Open your hand wide. Oh, dear me, you're going to live to be over 89 years old. You've got a good health line, too. You've got a lot of friends. Everybody likes you. If everything, I should think anybody has more confidence in you than you've got in yourself at times. Oh, I see somebody likes you very much. You're going to make a happy marriage. You're going to be the mother of 4 children, 3 little boys, 1 girl.
Whom am I going to marry?
This boy that's in your life at the present time. As a matter of fact, let's say this. There are 2 boys that you're very strongly in your life right now. But there's one boy that you had some little differences before with, but I think that that's the boy that you're the strongest in your life. You're not going to remain around your present surroundings. You'll mark for a definite change or move, and in making that, it's going to be good.
Do you know, have any idea where I will go?
Well, of course, you are going to college, that's true, but there's a trip that also shows there. There's a letter of personal mail that you're going to get this week.
As you can hear, it takes a real professional to run a Mitcamp, and there aren't too many of them left. The duck pond is one of the oldest hanky-panks in the business. The gimmick is simplicity itself. Pick a duck out of the water, win what corresponds with the number stamped on the bottom. This concession and the dozens of others are grouped together on a carnival lot in what is called the front end. The income from concessions is rarely revealed, but it can be said that concessions in some shows is the tail that wags the economic dog. Many citizens of Mars complain about the fakery involved in the games of chance, but to a small boy, a balloon can be a prize more important than all the others. By the way, balloons can be bought for only a few dollars a gross. The biggest investment the carnival owner makes is in the rides. $100,000 for a single ride is not uncommon. Many carnies feel that rides are primarily responsible for the growth of the carnival. Without the rides, the carnivals might be in the same declining role as the circuses. For it is on these big, gaudy, and exciting rides that the fairgoer gets the sense of participation in this whole crazy business. It is something that cannot be gained vicariously. And each year, when new rides are produced, the Carny makes his only concession to the outside world. He acknowledges the new life in which we are living by giving modern names to the rides. Names like Space Wheel and Astronaut. But modern name or not, the Carny is still after a very old commodity, the buck. Of World War II, there has been greater emphasis on kiddie rides, those smaller versions of the bigger thrill rides. Now babies, still in diapers, can be customers, and the Carny is well aware that few parents can resist the cry of a toddler who wants to ride the baby Ferris wheel. By the way, the Carny has a very expressive word for children. All kids to the Carny are punks, including his own. And each punk has parents who must bring him on to the lot. It's a money-making parlay. As we suggested earlier, not all of the business on a fair lot is the exclusive property of the Carny. Sometimes a local organization will put on a concession that gets a big and enthusiastic play. But there are certain concessions that require the skilled handling of a professional, like this age and weight guesser. He's been doing this for a long time.
This is a beautiful job. If I'd done this downtown, I'd get through.
Careful now.
I'll say you weigh about, oh boy.
Wait, don't make it look too easy. He has to hit within 3 pounds.
Never mind, lady. Don't pay no attention to me. I'm just looking. About, that all you weigh? 132. 132.
Moment of truth.
And she weighs 134 and a half. Well, you're looking well. I got a good look that time, didn't I? Your age ought to be about...
He's absolutely certain.
How old are you? 18. You're looking well. Don't try this for you. Age and weight, tell you what you weigh. 3 pounds of your weight, you want to try. Tell you how much you weigh, and if it gets wrong, you win. Let's have a player.
And this is one of the oldest concessions on the Carny, the high striker. Of course, there are prizes involved here, too. But that's not the point of the high striker. The point is, it gives a fella a chance to show his girl how strong he is. Because it usually winds up in a very severe case of embarrassment. But, you know, it's easy, if you know how.
Hurry now, if you're going. Hurry now, let's get your tickets. Right now, ladies and gentlemen. Dinah Hess. 2 arms, 2 legs, and yes, you're going to see her on the inside without the head. As she is pictured right
On the back end of the carnival lot, the pitch is about a classic illusion, the headless woman. It's no longer a secret that it's done with mirrors and with some mighty glib talk.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to witness and look upon when that curtain is pulled is not a freak of nature, because she was not born that way. Through a very tragic accident outside of Hamburg, Germany, her head was completely cut off. And now, at this time, we want to present to you Dinah Hess, known as the Headless Wonder, the girl that has shocked the entire world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you'll notice the 5 tubes that you see going to her throat, those are the 5 tubes that go to the 5 vital organs of the body. Now, the first thought that goes in your mind, that's a dummy, or even a mannequin. We're going to prove right now. If you notice, when I push this button here, she will move her arms, her legs, even her fingertips right now. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we do not allow any of the gentlemen to touch her. But if we have some lady out there that will volunteer to please come up, touch the girl upon the ankle, tell her friends and neighbors about it. Do we have anybody out there? Oh, will you please come over, ma'am? All we ask that you please do not pinch her or scratch her. Are you satisfied that's flesh and blood? Well, thank you. Please tell your friends and neighbors all about it, will you? Thank you now. Well, there she is, ladies and gentlemen, Dinah Hess, the girl that has shocked the entire world.
Many of the carnival shows deal in distortions of nature, either real or imagined. Where genuine distortions are not to be found, the carnies come up with an illusion like the headless woman. But in the animal world, real freaks are common. Actually, the word freak is little used. Sideshows exhibiting freaks are called 10-in-1s, 10 shows in one. The show you're seeing here is simply billed as midget animals, alive, all alive. They may not be the smallest animals of their type, but the talker says they are. The customers are not prone to complain because the tiny steer, horse, and donkey are cute. And there's a midget cowpoke to add to the flavor. Equally popular are the monkey shows, and a standard on the carnival lot is this monkey race show in which the simians scoot around the track in little electrically powered cars, mugging all the way. The man who gives the running commentary on the races also controls the operation of the cars. He determines who will win. But nobody really cares because the antics of the monkeys are enchanting to all ages. There's a little fakery in all these shows, again unveiled, if you'll pardon the expression, by Sally Rand.
The Carny showman is very inventive. Take the case of the Cardiff Giant, a crude statue of a man 10.5 feet high, carved from gypsum and secretly buried near Cardiff, New York. It was reported found in 1869, a sort of a missing link discovery. But when it was revealed as a hoax, the Carny continued with the exhibition, now freely admitting the deception. But this 1964 Cardiff Giant is a hoax upon a hoax, because this giant is made of papier-mâché.
At birth, I weighed 18 3/4 pounds. When I was 6 years old, I was 3 inches bigger around than I was tall. I weighed 97 pounds.
This, quite naturally, is called a fat show. It's a type of grind show, in that it continues without a let-up as the talker outside grinds the audience into the show.
Merry-go-round. 54 inches around my thighs. I measure 31 inches around my arm. And that's better than Jane Mansfield can do, that's for sure. I'm married. I have 4 children, 2 girls and 2 boys. My husband weighs 142 pounds, and I'm the boss.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, if you all gather down here in front of the Pygmy Village, as you can see by looking at this young man, he is one of our pygmies.
The outside ballet on any show is critical. A poor ballet can see your potential audience drift away. A good ballet can help even a poor show.
Inside, in fact, you'll see everything in all of these pictures. You'll be entertained here tonight by the Pygmy Juggler. He juggles everything but the kitchen sink. The little midget is here who eats and breathes fire and flame and bends red-hot bars of steel over the tongue. Ladies and gentlemen, the Pygmy Village is a big show. But there is one small part of it, and that's the price of admission. When you buy a ticket here, you see it all the way through on that one price of admission.
The crowd outside is called a tip. Getting the crowd to pay to go inside is referred to as turning the tip. Ward Hall, the talker here, is a successful veteran, and with great sincerity, he deals in exaggeration.
I sell the tickets here. It's showtime, and the porter pays the way. Everybody goes. Let's get tickets and go now.
Once inside, you realize that all 6 live acts referred to outside are being done by one dwarf, not 6. Of course, the man never said there were 6 dwarfs, just 6 live acts. And this act can be dangerous. The trick is never to breathe in. If you do, the flames go into your lungs. And, incidentally, fire eaters do not line their mouths with a protective coat of grease. If they did, the grease would only cook, causing blisters.
I will give you a demonstration in sword swallowing. Now, I know most of you folks, you think, oh, I use some kind of old trick sword. You say them old swords, they fold up the handle, they fold up the mouth. To prove to you it is no trick sword which I use. I'm going to swallow this old 22-inch sword. I'm going to have the little lady step over here and pull the sword out of my throat after I swallow it.
Sword swallowing is really very easy. It's done by throwing the head back so there is a perfectly straight line from the mouth to the pit of the stomach. Of course, you have to first overcome the gagging reflex, but that comes with practice.
No turnabout's fair play, is it? Oh, I don't think we better do it to you. For my last son, I will do it this time. I'm going to swallow a straight sword and curved sword both at the same time. One curve goes one way, and the straight curve goes the other way. I'd like to thank you folks. Hope you enjoyed the performance. Thank you very much.
Watch me close down. I pull you. Watch it now. Watch it close. Thank you. Watch it now. Watch me close. I put in there. Watch it now. Watch it close. Right through his foot. Here. Now what? No, but all right. I need 6 figures. I need 6 men, please, right quick. 6 men. Come around here. Got 2. Come here. Come here. You 2, come here. What's your name? On 2 each side. When I put my hands up, pull. Don't drag it at one time. If you break my neck, I don't think you get the rest of my life. If I have a second time, I mean stop. I had enough. Let's go.
Knife throwing involves skill, period. There are no tricks involved. Just a keen eye and a trusting wife for an assistant.
Try and show you how close we can throw these things at the little lady and still miss her sometimes. Hang your chin right up over that one, please. Gentlemen, I find that the most anyone can throw a knife straight forward. But it's a little different when you turn these things around and try and throw them backwards by the side and between the legs. First by the side, then between the legs. Get this. To the front, please, ma'am. All righty. That takes a little nerve tonight when you get home. Sweet talk your wife or your girlfriend, stand her up against the kitchen door and draw out the butcher knives.
Outside on the bally stage, the talker is trying to turn another tip, trying to sell those tickets. It's a never-ending process, and the carnies would not have it any other way.
The last show tonight at the Gold Medal Circus. The big show, the main show. That's right, move right on up in close where you can all see. I don't want to block the midway, you know. So move right in close. I'll have him swallow the sword right out here, so watch him. And if he doesn't swallow the sword right down to the pit of his stomach, I'm going to let all of you go in the show free. Because you know what he'd do? He'd swallow that Ferris wheel, spoke at a time, if he thought he had to buy a ticket. Here's one of the Australians, knife and battle axe throwers, with a thrilling act of knife throwing. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to let every one of you go in on a quarter ticket, a booster's ticket. You don't say you got $1 worth of show, you come out here and I'll give you back your quarter. Could I be any fair and square in that?
Living while on the road with a carnival show can be fair or it can be very bad. It's rarely good. Few shows have the facilities of a train, and even these are not luxury Pullmans. Of course, when you're at the train show, you do have the facilities of a pie car, a diner, so to speak. But I have yet to hear of a pie car with really good food. However, this is kind of like eating in the kitchen back home with your family and close friends. The caste system on the carnival is not as rigid as it is on the circus, but it's true that some carnies live better than others. Families of show owners, like the Settlemeyers, have their own private cars, and they are very comfortable. But as in all segments of society, rank has certain privileges. Family is very important to the carny. The Royal American shows proudly point to 3 generations of Carl J. Settlemeyers, the elder founder of the show, the 45-year-old heir, and the teenage grandson. Carl III spent last season as the talker on the 10-in-1, the Freak Show. The family of Al Brown, owner of a truck show, is somewhat different. Al says he wasn't born into the carnival, he just sort of charged into it. His wife is a bingo caller. Son Dennis, age 23, is concessions manager, a law student, and probably won't stay with the show. Daughter Barbara, age 15, has a popcorn wagon. Son Richard, age 13, is a relief man. Mrs. Brown points out that, with the carnival, she knows where her children are and what they're doing every minute of the summertime. Not all the people with carnivals are show owners, and there are wide economic gaps from carny to carny. But family life goes on here, too, even though the ironing has to be done across the ticket booth. And in the rear of the show tent, on a nice sunny morning, the baby gets his bath. At that, he may be more fortunate than the adult members of the family, because toilet facilities on the carnival lot leave a lot to be desired. No matter where the Carny family moves, the laundry must be done. And when the weather is nice, there's nothing better than taking the ironing board out of the trailer into the open air. A Carny wife is a working wife. She really has 2 jobs. In this case, in the Motordome, you first dazzle the customers with feats of daring on a perpendicular board wall. But after the daring, there's still the ironing to be done. Under still other circumstances, you can take the white Cadillac and do your washing at a nearby laundromat. That's what happens with Mrs. Rod Link, wife of the owner of the fast-growing World of Pleasure shows. Mrs. Link also has 2 jobs, housewife and business manager. Her 2 teenage children work on the show as well. The son keeps the mechanical equipment rolling. The daughter helps in the treasurer's wagon. And when you get the show set up on a pleasant tree-studded fairgrounds like the one at Muncie, Indiana, there are moments when the family members can just sit back and enjoy being carnies. On another Indiana show lot at Greencastle, James H. Drew and his daughter Melinda hold forth on payday. This is her regular job. It is true of Carny children that most of them learn to properly change a dollar bill before they enter the 1st grade. And Carny kids are whizzes at geography. They've been to places geography teachers never heard of. Jim Drew's wife and his son, Jim Jr., were not at Greencastle. They were heading up a 2nd unit of the show at Lebanon, Indiana. Carnival shows frequently split into 2 units to play the smaller fairgrounds. Mrs. Drew is the president of the Ladies' Auxiliary of the Showman's League of America. The newer generation of carnival owners are bringing new methods into the business, such as the case of James E. Strait, son of the late founder of the big Strait shows. He finds it convenient to take to the air in his private plane to travel from fair to fair. Jim Strait, young and enthusiastic, runs his carnival operation with the snappy military efficiency of a Marine, which he used to be. Tying this whole diverse and transitory business together is the Carny's Bible, the weekly magazine amusement business. In it, the Carnies read that 1-carat simulated diamond rings are going for $9 a gross. There's a calf for sale with 2 noses, 3 eyes, and 6 legs, and a man looking for a partner for a carnival business in Ethiopia. Here, amusement business editor and publisher Jim McHugh arrives on the loss of the bluegrass shows. He will write a piece about how much the show is grossing, a story that will be read avidly by rival show owners. The magazine also carries personals about expected babies, illnesses, and little gems like Eddie Pedrero, Jr., left for a freak hunting trip to South America. Editor McHugh will note again that show owner Specs Grosskreutz still wears the big diamond, the true mark of the successful Carny. Amusement business will also report on the charitable work of the Carnies, like a party for the children of the Shrine Crippled Children's Hospital in St. Paul, Minnesota. This is an annual stop for the Royal American Shrine Club. Here, the carnival Shriners will pack huge bags of toys for each child in the hospital, after finding out just what it is each patient wants most. First, there's a show.
No. No.
Then came the clowns. Normally, carnivals don't have clowns. That's a circus trademark. The kids like clowns, and the carnies provide them. One of them was Hal Hall, who operates the funhouse in the Royal American lot. He used to be a joy. And the night before this party, he taught several quick routines to Hanlon and Clark, the burlesque comedians with the Royal American Girls Show. Tommy and Nellie Hanlon had been in show business all their lives, but they never played clowns before. It was a little difficult to tell who was having the most fun, the kids or the old troopers, Hanlon and Clark. But when the clowns departed, the children knew that the magic moment was arriving. The nurses had told them of all the packing activity that had gone on. One might think that carnies are not very sensitive or demonstrative people, but there is a warmth and affection in them that sometimes surprises even the carnies themselves.
Barbara Pomberford. Barb Pomberford. Out over on the right. And another Barb Boberg. Barbara Boberg. Oh, here's a huge package for some little girl, Janet Van Ankerroth.
Any former carny in the area is invited to help out. The Royal American Shrine Club raises $40,000 a year to help crippled children, rounding up the money on the carnival lot with raffles, benefits, tip boards, and donations. Similar parties are held at hospitals in Winnipeg, Edmonton, St. Louis, and Shreveport.
Scott Hall.
The St. Paul party is held just before the carnival opens at the Minnesota State Fair. And when it does, backstage at the girls' show, a tender scene is played out by Jenny and Art Diamond, who are first-season carnies and on their honeymoon. When Art sings, Jenny never fails to watch from the wings. But when you're in love, the rigors of carnival life don't really seem so bad.
Ladies and gentlemen, our singer of songs, Mr. Art Diamond. Our comedian, Miss Jeanette Starr. Those two crazy people, Hanlon and Clark. Stand in our gang, what do you say?
The finale on the last show of the night is always a happy time at the girls' show. The music plays, there's no business like show business, and the girls sing it. Well, they weren't hired as singers. With the spangles and the makeup gone, the girls really don't look any different than most of the kids strolling the midway. But there is one big difference. They're carnies.
Those of us who are not carnies find it a little difficult to understand just what motivates them. Well, they tell a story about two carnies trudging along a highway. It's late in the season. They've been beleaguered by poor weather. In the last town, the police closed their joint. And now they're walking to a town somewhere up the road in hopes of hooking on with another show. A bone-penetrating chill of early autumn is in the air, and the two carnies are not dressed for it. As they walk along, bent against the cold, they come upon a neat little cottage. A white picket fence surrounds it. Through the picture window, they see a man and his wife with their children seated in contentment in front of a newly kindled fire. The carnies pause for a brief moment, and then one nudges his companion. "Hey," he says, "look at those stupid marks." Edwin Newman, NBC News. Good evening.